Hey, David Judge here, and today I'm going to discuss the qualifications your VA should have and how to know if they're telling you the truth. Now, like a number of other subjects I've covered previously, this is a really interesting subject, especially around the question of trust, and I'm going to share a few really good reasons I've included as a part of today's conversation that explain why I asked that. Now, before I get into it, let's talk about the qualifications the VA should possess, and a good way to identify that is to first of all understand the style of tasks you would like your VA to perform. Now, I've actually covered that previously, and you can check that out here, where I talk about the simple process to identifying the tasks you can outsource in your business. Now, an important point to mention here is there are two types of VAs. I like to call them universal VAs and specialist VAs. Now, a universal VA would suit any business where they wanted them to cover a variety of general tasks from email management to calendar management, all the way through to basic SEO and social profiles. Now, if you're looking for more specialized tasks like programming or advanced video editing, graphic design, advanced content writing, drafting if you're in architecture, then you need a person that's actually specialized in that task. Now, aside from the difference of experience between both types, there's also a price difference on how much you would expect to pay for a universal VA compared to a specialist VA, with a specialist VA obviously being higher due to their specialist experience. So now, I'm going to talk about UVAs and the basic skills that they should possess. I'm going to do that with a story. Now, the first few times I used Odesk, and Odesk, if you haven't heard of it, is a outsourced job posting site. I placed my job, and within the first few hours, I had around 20 applicants. Now, of the 20 applicants, around 15 people had taken this blanket approach where they hadn't read the description and they just copied and pasted into a whole bunch of different job postings the same thing. So I took those 15 and I thought, you know what, boom, I'm not even going to look at you. Of the remaining 5 that were left over, two of the people looked like they could do exactly what I wanted, and the application read really well and they were really detailed on how they can complete the task. So of the 2, I decided to give the person that had the highest number of hours experience the job, and because you can do that on Odesk, you can measure the hours, and I let them loose on the task. 4 days later, they delivered the project to me, and it was totally different than what I'd asked for. And I contacted them and they said they'd fix it right away, and the second version was worse than the first. Now, I confronted them about it, and eventually they told me they didn't have experience in the task and they just really wanted someone to give them an opportunity and work experience in the task. Seriously? Now, while this would be okay, if I was running a charity in business, I needed to have my work done for me that I was asking for, and I needed to have it delivered to me in a timely manner. Now, what was really interesting is I did this again. I put out another job posting and I decided to interview people, and when I asked them directly if they could perform the task and I gave them some problem solving questions around it, a large percentage of them couldn't do it, and it was the same deal. They either wanted someone to help them out by giving them work experience, they had another family member go through and dodgy up the application or their questionnaire, they simply lied, is they just wanted to get a job. And this also followed through to their resumes. A lot of times, the actual truths around their resumes were greatly exaggerated masterpieces that they paid a professional to help them to prepare. Now, after a lot of painful hours and additional hair loss, I realized that if I wanted to get a different result, I needed to change how I was employing people for the jobs. And I realized that what I had to do is I had to break past all that initial crap if I was going to understand how good a person would really be. Now, this is the foundation of the top 7 skills that I now look for when I'm employing a VA. Now, when I mention these skills to people, they normally are really surprised around how I'm actually able to measure these skills for people in these areas. So let me share them with you now. If you want to hear them, yeah? The top 7 skills. Top 7 skills that I always make sure that each one of my applicants possess are an excellent grasp of English, technologically competent, they have the ability to interact, they have proven problem-solving skills, they possess common sense, they have attention to detail, and they give a damn about their job and career. Now, the big question, Dave, is how can you effectively measure these 7 skills, especially when a lot of times the people that you employ are in a totally different country? Now, before we wrap up, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share the process that I use that is an evolving piece of artwork. Now, it's taken me 4 years to get it to the place I'm at right now, and it's the reason that I'm able to consistently get good quality people. So you want to hear it? Okay, let's go through. The first stage is for them to supply their resume, but I also have each applicant complete a really detailed questionnaire. Now within this questionnaire, I include problem-solving questions, questions that test their English, questions that test the applicant's common sense, and a few other really important questions that will test if they can get past stage 1. Now, based on the questions that I ask, I know really quickly if they possess the required skills to get through to the next level, and it means I can go through a lot of potential applicants to decide on the ones that will make it to stage 2. Now, if they do make it through stage 1 on to stage 2, what I do is I test these same skills again in more detailed fashion, and I test them live. Now, I provide a series of tasks for them to perform, and I use Google Drive, guys, to watch how they complete the task live. From here, I confirm that they were honest in their questionnaire, and I can also see how long it takes each person to complete each area. The other cool point about it is if I'm running it, or I have one of my recruitment officers running it, I can run about 10 people at one time, because we can basically flip between each screen and we can see and measure how long it takes for them to complete each task. Now the last stage, let's say they've made it through stage 1 and 2. What we do is we then run a one-on-one interview where I ask as many questions as possible to identify any potential issues we can have down the track, and I also give them 2 impossible to solve scenarios designed to see how well they handle pressure. It's time to get an idea of how intense this process is. Now what I do is I ultimately look for a person that ticks all of these boxes, and whilst I ask for a resume and a few basic questions around their specific skills, I find that these attributes are far more important than anything that they can say on any resume. Now what I've found is that the person that is able to make it to this final stage, they not only pick up the required skills, if they have any gaps, they're able to pick up those gaps fast, and they're also able to interact and ask any additional questions, and they adapt and they learn so fast. So that's it. Those are the top 7 qualifications that I find critical in successfully finding a VA. And in all honesty, I pay very little attention to what they say, and instead I put them through my process to see what they can actually do. Okay, that's it. Let's wrap up. In the next session, I'm going to share how long it should take for a VA to integrate into your business. And this has come as a question from somebody. If you have any questions you would like me to answer, make sure that you get in contact with me, and I would love to hear from you. And as always, this is David Judge, talking outsourcing and showing businesses how to work smarter.